All right, friends, it's T, and I'm back with another video on guess who? Jason Blaha, Strength and Fitness, the lifting slave. That's right, my friends. Deconfusing ideas of ideal training volumes. Interesting. Okay. Training volumes. Yes. Let's review this video. I have some things I'd like to say about that volume stuff. Yeah, he never talks about food. He's always talking about lifting and volumes. Okay. You're going to build a muscle.
So much confusion about volume. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about why there's so much confusion about volume out there, right? There's so much confusion about volume.
Okay, what is this confusion about volume? There's no confusion. Here's the thing. If you are a real coach, you'll know this. If you are a chronic lifter, you are an endurance athlete. That is considered endurance. You understand me? And what is associated with endurance? Glycogen loading. And what type of hypertrophy would be associated with glycogen loading? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Okay. Now, if you are a periodic lifter, and I mean extreme periodic lifting, okay? That is associated with myofibrillar hypertrophy, okay? Because an endurance athlete, we have something called the repeated bout effect phenomenon, where it protects muscle from a repeated bout of damage in endurance athletes. Do you understand me now? Yes. Okay. That's good that you understand that. You know, some people, they don't even have half a brain to understand that. Now, if you are a chronic lifter, if you are a periodic lifter, and I mean extreme periodic, then the repeated bout effect does not apply. You want to know why? Because it doesn't need protection. It doesn't need to protect muscle from a repeated bout of damage because it's periodic. Yes. So why is the repeated bout effect protecting you from any more damage as a chronic lifter coming to a gym like a bimbo? Because you couldn't work in your factory job if you kept getting damage lifting heavy boxes or any physical labor job. You'd get rhabdo and die in a stupor in a hospital. Do you understand me? You get a disease called rhabdo. You can't keep repetitively injuring muscles without them repairing and remodeling. And no, they don't take 24 hours to repair and remodel, or 48 hours. But you get these bimbos in the gym, they're going to say, yeah, but we got protein synthesis 24 hours. Protein synthesis 24 hours, 24 hours protein synthesis. Yeah? You're replacing proteins that you broke down. But to injure a muscle fiber, a micro injury, how long do you think that takes to repair and remodel? I didn't say protein synthesis. I didn't say you coming in as a chronic lifter, breaking down proteins, and then I got to replenish my proteins that I broke down now because I'm a chronic lifter, and I'm going to put back these proteins. Protein synthesis, 24 hours, 48 hours. Because I've had idiots tell me this in the gym, man. They go, what are you talking about? Got protein synthesis, 24 hours, 48 hours. But a protein synthesis has nothing to do with a repair and a remodeling. You understand what I'm trying to explain to you? So a periodic lifter gets something called muscle damage, okay? These muscle injuries. And guess what they go through? A repair and a remodeling. That's why they call it periodic lifting. But you, as a chronic lifter, you are an idiot. You understand me? You are idiot. You are not damaging muscles. You're not growing new muscles, because muscles have to grow by getting more muscle cells because they have an MND size limit. Yeah, man. They have a limit how fucking big they can get. And they can only get so big. And that's why all of you out there in the la land associate this. Your instincts are not lying when you say, I've reached a newbie gain limit. Or I've reached MND, or I've reached my genetic limit, or I'm a hard gainer, whatever the fuck. So when they're telling you, these people are telling you can gain 5 pounds of muscle in a year. Maybe you could gain 5 pounds of muscles in 10 years. Yeah, because maybe occasionally you've done something you're unfamiliar as you were still going through this. You were, I don't know, a chronic lifter. You may have done something, and then you may have got some of that. But like I said, an intelligent person would know that periodic lifting is associated with micro damages, and then you go through a repair and a remodeling. But everybody knows who's a chronic lifter, they get protein synthesis 24 hours because you want to perform. You want to be a circus clown and perform. You don't want to build muscle. You want to pretend you're building muscle by building sarcoplasmic muscles, these fake muscles. And I'll show this to you. This is what you're building. This is what all of you are building when you come into the gym. So when he says something about high volume, okay, so muscle fiber hypertrophy in response to 6 weeks of high volume resistance training in trained young men. Trained, they didn't say untrained, they didn't say, okay? Young men is largely attributed to sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. It's based on glycogen concentration. See there at the bottom? Glycogen concentrations, bro. That's what it is. It looks like this. There's two types of hypertrophy. Myofibrillar, which is the increase in myofibrils, and then there's sarcoplasmic, which is the increase in muscle glycogen storage. That's what all you dingbats are getting out there. You're getting these phony muscles. See what I mean? As a lifter, as a chronic lifter. Sorry, this thing shut off. So that's what you're getting as a chronic lifter. Do you understand me, man? You get these phony muscles right here. It's not associated with strength. There's no strength there, okay? I'm not gonna pop it up in Google to prove everything. And then there's something else called, and then you get this phony strength. Because what happens is this. So as you come into the gym lifting like this bimbo right here lifting, your coach.
And it's really because
your coach Blaha, a chronic lifter, you're going to get an adaptation now because now you're striving to lift heavier weights. So you're going to get an adaptation in myocytic androgen receptors because they control the strength. So you get an adaptation in these receptors. They widen, you get more of them. They cling to the myofibers, and then you get that strength for maximum force production. It's just like a woman, she gets an adrenaline rush to lift a car off her kid, 6,000-pound car. It's temporary, it's a kind of temporary, how should I put it, strength. Because factory workers wouldn't be able to work. If they, listen, this is to protect people from working. This is how nature works, friend. You have to understand how nature works. You understand me? You can't get damage if you are a chronic lifter or person doing sports chronically. It's protected. It's helping you so you don't lose your supportive performance. Look, I'll explain this, man. Fuck, one more time. So in DOMS, it'll tell you what happens if you get this damage. What is this damage? Well, when you get this damage, you get something called DOMS, a delayed onset muscle soreness. It's actually pain. It is a type of ultrastructural muscle injury. Manifestation as DOM is caused by eccentric and unfamiliar forms of exercise. So that's what causes it. You understand me? What causes it is eccentric, unfamiliar forms, meaning it has to be periodic. It can't be chronic. You understand me? It's protected by something called repeated bout effect phenomena. So the clinical signs, if you do get this damage, is reduced force capacities. Are you getting that in the gym every time you lift chronically? Are you getting painful restriction? Are you getting a DOMS? That's another thing. Are you getting a DOMS that lasts 4 days? Really painful, really painful. Are you getting are you getting a reduced force capacities, increased painful restriction of movement, stiffness and swelling of dysfunctional adjacent joints? No, do you see him complaining about any of that in his videos? Although DOMS is considered a mild type of injury, it is one of the most common reasons for compromised what? Sportive performance. Your sportive performance would be compromised. He wouldn't be able to move those weights. In the past few decades, many happen. So it would fuck up what he's doing in the gym. So he's performing, and so his performance is not compromised. Your performance in the factory, all you factory workers in your gym lifting those boxes all day, your performance is not being hindered because it's being protected by something called the repeated bout effect. Repeated. The repeated bout effect. You understand, man? Yeah, man. See? So, the repeated bout effect is the protective effects against muscle damage from what? A single bout of eccentric exercise. You understand me? The repeated bout effect refers to the adaptation. It is an adaptation. You've adapted, whereby a single bout of eccentric exercise protects against muscle damage from subsequent bouts. Otherwise, you'd get that thing that it said in DOMS. You'd get all these problems. It would compromise your performance. So he's a performer. He's a clown in a circus. Get it, man?
You have some of the hit people, or guys like Dorian Yates out there who have actually done the same volumes everyone else has done. You know, that
the difference between Dorian Yates, he was definitely experimenting a lot with a bunch of stuff. He wasn't just doing hit. He definitely was a periodic lifter, and occasionally he would be a chronic lifter. When he tried to condition himself, he definitely was he said, conditioning chronic. He said when he was lifting, it was periodic. That's why he was so dense at the time. He still retained a lot of muscle after he left the scene, and he wasn't even on drugs.
In the 20 set range, kind of that sweet spot per week.
But again, a lot of his muscle was definitely sarcoplasmic because it too becomes. Look, he wasn't totally a a periodic lifter. He did a lot of chronic lifting, and so he got a lot of this sarcoplasmic hypertrophy because he ate a lot of carbohydrates. He knew because he talked with Tom Platz and everybody. They told him about sarcoplasmic hypertrophy to maximize that growth, to pump out. That's why he looked so massive. That's why these bodybuilders look so massive, because sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is not overseen by anything. Nothing controls it. Not the MND size limit, not the satellite cell, not follistatin, myostatin. Nothing controls the sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, but myofibrillar, it is under strict control by a bunch of mechanisms called repeated bout effect phenomenon. It is protected. It is under control by the satellite cell. It is under control by the follistatin, myostatin. Man, it's under control by just about everything, okay? So yeah, it isn't so easy. If you think it's so easy to go build a muscle, then go build a muscle. But don't scream and yell that yesterday I could do 500, today I could barely do 250 because it's based on androgen receptor strength. Duh. And don't complain because my gains are going. They're going because they're phony, they're sarcoplasmic, and so is your strength. It's a phony strength. It isn't based on naturally, you didn't increase your natural strength by increasing your myofibrils. You wasted your time 10, 20, 30 years being a chronic lifter, getting these androgen receptors for the phony force production because you wanted to be good as a factory worker lifting boxes. Get it, man? And then this glycogen, well, glycogen needs to exceed that breakdown in order for glycogen to load into the muscle. So it doesn't really matter how much volume you do. You could do a shitload of volume, but if glycogen synthesis does not exceed that breakdown, then the glycogen won't. That's the only thing that's overseen by that sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. What is overseen is the amount of glycogen you load into the muscle, eating complex carbohydrates, because they don't spike your insulin, and they're slow acting. They come in slowly.
Called it sets, right? Or 4 sets or whatever, because he wasn't counting his warm-ups where he would do 405 pounds for sets of 8s on the barbell row. Those are just warm-ups, right? Because if he can left a couple reps in the tank and he can actually do 10, he did.
No matter how many reps he did or whatever, if he didn't eat anything, he wouldn't have built shit. So, but the thing is, he was on steroids. You're going to say, well, he was on steroids. Yeah, definitely. What happens is the testosterone, you're able to draw more of this sarcoplasmic hypertrophy into the muscles. That's what the steroid is doing. That sex hormone, that testosterone, is helping to load more of this glycogen into the muscle. That's all it's doing. It's drawing more of it and keeping it in there. It's holding it in there. It's an energy source because you're performing. You're performing. That's why they call it enhanced performing drugs. They don't call it muscle building drugs. If it was muscle building drugs, they would call it, hey, muscle building drugs. Get it? It enhances your performance. You understand me? Okay, so how do you enhance your performance in the real world? Well, sarcoplasmic would somewhat, it could compromise your performance actually. It doesn't really enhance your performance that much. Kind of does, because you got to carry around all this fluid. So you know what I mean? It's like a storage unit. So that could maybe too much of it could definitely hinder your performance. Too much of it, I'm saying. Some of it's not bad. But what would enhance your performance in the natural world? More myofibrils. More natural myofibrils that you grow will enhance your performance naturally. It'll keep going up naturally. But if you do it phony lifting, then you be like him, a gym slave, a chronic lifting slave for these fucking stupid androgen receptor strength. And then you get these glycogen muscles. And they all go away when you leave the gym within a short relative period of time. And then people call it, hey, I got muscle memory. I went back to the gym. I ate a bunch of carbs and I got some muscle memory. Oh, and I started lifting again. I got some muscle memory. No. When you go back to the gym, you can't go directly and lift that 500 pounds off the floor anymore because your androgen receptor strength went away. But I know people that built myofibrils like myself. I was always able to go back to the gym and lift 500 off the bat without practicing because I increased my natural strength. I didn't focus on androgen receptor strength. I didn't want to be a small guy lifting a heavy weight, running around the gym going, look guys, I'm a strong guy. I'm a small, strong guy. I can lift a heavy weight. And look at the big guys. I'm stronger than the big guys. You understand what I'm trying to explain to you? I wasn't a clown doing that, running around. I just was laughing at these clowns doing that. I laugh at clowns that want to lift a heavy weight. You understand me? That's all stupid shit. But then you get these steroid people, they want to make a show. So they want to make a show. I can lift a heavy weight and I'm big at the same time and lift a heavy weight. You're big filled with sarcoplasmic hypertrophy and you can lift a heavy weight because you took a bunch of drugs so they would bind to the androgen receptors for that maximum force production. How fucking dumb is that shit, bro? That's clown performance. You understand me?
Count them. Well, that's also silly. Or you have the people who push such high volumes, even in some of these evidence-based circles, which is ludicrous because the evidence doesn't even support their notions most of the
Hi, I'm Dr. Anthony Balduzzi, and I want to announce
most of the time. And all of us who are coaches out here, we've all had these clients who follow these recommendations.
He's the shittiest coach in the world. He doesn't know anything about lifting whatsoever. He's too dumb to understand lifting.
Who come to us and like, I couldn't make any gains, and you cut their volume 70% from what they were doing, and they start making gains.
I cut their volume, and then they started making gains. I'll explain. Here's the funny part. He had these, He had these people that weren't making gains. So he cut the volume by 50%. Okay, this is what they're getting. Remember, this is the volume, bro. Where is it? So this is the volume that they're getting. High volume resistance training in young men is largely attributed to sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Okay, what was making their sarcoplasmic gains increase when he cut the volume? It's easy. They had more of this glycogen that was able to they were able to synthesize more glycogen now in the muscle without burning it. That's what happened.
From what they were doing, and they start making gains again. And
yeah, they made the gains because you cut the volume in half, and then they weren't they weren't breaking down more glycogen than they could absorb in creating these phony sarcoplasmic muscles.
It really is because people don't understand what we mean by 10 to 20 sets. 10 to 20 hard sets a week for muscles.
Yeah. Usually you could do 10 to 20 sets or whatever, this high volume for muscles, lifting. You're going to get more sarcoplasmic, you're going to get more glycogen in the muscle. That's really your whole basis, that in that type of training, really you want to do is, I've done this. I've done this because I practiced at doing this. I've done this. I made videos of it on my old channel, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy muscles. So you could gain a lot of these phony muscles through sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. So by eating bowls and bowls of potatoes, they're the best for loading glycogen. Complex carbohydrates, I would recommend potatoes. And you'll get a lot of these phony muscles by lifting in the gym. And all your friends will think you're on steroids. All of them will go, oh, you're the rave of the show. You must be on steroids. You'll gain 20 pounds in like 2-3 weeks.
And I would contend with people that if you're exceeding 20 reps, or 20 sets, for a muscle in a week, you're exceeding 20, I'm going to very seriously question how hard you're training. Okay?
It's more based on how much glycogen you're taking in than you're lifting. You can lift whatever you want, but if there's not enough glycogen, then listen to me. I've done this even just by lifting once a week, but I focused more on the glycogen loading. Here's the thing. You could lift once a week in the gym. You go and you lift. Then you focus the rest of the week, the next 5, 6, 7 days, on glycogen loading. You just keep eating bowls and bowls of potato, and at that point your body will still be in a state after that workout. It could literally be in a state the rest of the week in glycogen synthesis. Yeah, it can be extended for that entire week. So you'll have more chances of building these phony muscles a lot better and faster than what you're doing in the gym, breaking them down and then trying to exceed that breakdown in glycogen. That's why a lot of these people are not succeeding with the sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. It too requires a type of rest. You know what I mean? But that too definitely would make you almost a periodic lifter. You would definitely get some damage in there. Yeah, possibly. I don't know. Depends what you're doing. I don't know. It's complicated. To damage muscles requires a lot of work, massive work.
If you are not, within a matter of months experiencing symptoms of overtraining, you are hurting all the time, and you're able to, and you don't just feel like hammered dog.
If you're feeling symptoms of overtraining, it's because you've now exceeded that breakdown in glycogen. That's why you're not gaining. You're not gaining because you keep breaking it down to more than you're taking in.
Crap. Particularly if you're drug free, you're not training that hard. You just aren't. Your sets are low quality. They're not even close to failure. And I'm not telling people to take things to failure. Right? I would honestly like to see most exercises ideally about 1 or 2 reps away from hitting like true muscle failure. For big movements, small movements, we can take those right there to that edge.
Yes, hit the muscles to true failure. Think about it. Your muscles protected from any damage and everything. You are an endurance athlete coming in. You are a chronic lifter. So you wanted to take it to failure to do what? What is the second hypertrophy that these people are training for? Remember, there's 2 types of hypertrophy. One is associated with chronic lifting, the other one with periodic. He is a chronic lifter. So what is that associated with, the chronic lifting? Well, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. So he is he's got phony muscles, and he doesn't even have any muscles. Look at him. He just looks like a regular dude walking down the street. And what is he doing? Androgen receptor strength, that force production. He's gotten good at lifting these weights in the gym. He is the epitome of what I would call a fucking lifting gym slave. Yeah, he's a gym slave, bro. This is stupid.
Or a curl or something. Okay, fine. You want to take a curl or a calf?
He's never increased his natural strength, and I can prove it. If we take Jason Blaha away from this gym for over a month, just 1 month, okay, and take him off his TRT as well to get that puffy look from the sarcoplasmic muscle that he has, that very little amount that he's holding in there, he'll be nothing. He'll be like fucking dried out, skinny, even skinnier than he is now, and that fucking forced production will go away. He won't be able to come in there and squat 500 or whatever, 300 off the bat, or lift 400 off the bat off the floor. He won't be able to do it. He won't, I swear to God to you, he will not be able to lift any of those heavy weights that he could had he gone away for a whole month on vacation. You understand me? And he came back trying to lift those same weights. They won't, because it's phony strength. It's fake. It's temporary. It's temporary strength to protect you, to help you in your factory job lifting boxes all day. Okay? That's how it works in the natural world, not the fake phony world.
Race to failure, not the end of the world. I think that's perfectly acceptable. Okay? Smaller movements. Big movements, obviously, we don't want to get to failure, but you also don't want 5 reps left in reserve. Okay? So, that being said, people don't train hard and then they do these huge amounts of volumes and wonder why it's not working. They wonder why it's not working. Or they do try.
Why it's not working? Because you're not eating enough glycogen in there to load up those phony muscles, bro.
To train hard and then their performance gets terrible. Or you get the people who just way undertrain.
See, he said performance. He's a performer. He's training for performance.
And what I always try to tell guys, you start going down to
He's not training to increase his natural strength through myofibular growth. He's training for performance. He's a performer.
really low volumes. You can still make progress doing it. You better
What is associated with performance? Glycogen loading. Like every sport person who trains for performance, like soccer players, swimmers, and everybody, what's the first thing they want to do? Carbohydrate load, bro. So if carbohydrates exceed this breakdown in carbohydrates in the muscle, then you'll get more of these phony sarcoplasmic muscles. Yeah, man. And he's performing at lifting a heavy weight. And what's your body going to compensate you with when you lift that heavy weight? Myocytic androgen receptors, because they control the strength and not the mass of the limb muscles.
Training really, really hard. So if you're around that 10 set per week mark where you start going lower, they better be serious movements.
Remember, every time he lifts, for every gram of glycogen, 3 grams of water are drawn between the skin and the muscle into the muscles.
And you better be working real hard on those sets.
So, if people ask me about how many grams of protein do you need to build muscle, I told them more than 1,000 grams. Yeah, because protein synthesis needs to exceed this breakdown if you are building real myofibular growth as a periodic lifter. When it comes to myofibular hypertrophy, protein synthesis needs to exceed this breakdown to build those muscles when you do get those muscle cells, additional cells. But this goofball as a chronic lifter, glycogen synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown. So when people say 1 gram of muscle and then this amount of fluid is being drawn, well, you'll need at least a good 5, 6 grams, 7 grams of glycogen so that more of this water could be drawn into the muscle. Do you understand me? Listen to me. A gram is very tiny. Have you ever measured a gram? Okay. For every gram, 3 grams of water are drawn in there. Okay, so you're gonna need a lot more grams of this glycogen to draw more of this water to create these phony sarcoplasmic muscles. Yeah, man. So you can look phonier than the last time.
Okay. All right. You better be working real hard. But I'll occasionally see guys who will come to me as clients who they got too far into the low volume and they're doing 6 or 8 sets per muscle group a week. And then some of it's single joint stuff, you know. And
Jason looks like the worst lifter in the world. That has he just looks like a dude on a diet, on a diet. That's about it. Some old dude on a diet that has never lifted a weight in his life. I would never know that he lifted a weight if I saw him in the street, walking around.
It's like, what are you doing? You know, they're like, oh, my biceps aren't coming along. They're doing 3 sets of chins and 3 sets of concentration curls. And they're doing it all really slow, controlled. They're not putting a lot of contractile effort into it. Okay, this is a problem. So, when we talk about 10 to 20, what do we mean? Are they hard sets? Are you going real close to failure? I mean, a perfect example.
Sometimes, the only thing more difficult than running a business is finding...
What do we mean? Are they hard sets?
Think about it. Hard sets, going to failure. What is the point? What is the point? In your imaginary brain, you're thinking, you're a chronic lifter, and you're thinking, well, I need to go to failure to build the muscle. What kind of muscle are you building exactly when you're going to failure? What are you building going to failure? If you're saying you're building muscles, you don't build muscles in gyms. The only muscles you're going to build in a gym is sarcoplasmic muscles. Get it? When people tell you the pump and all that and you're lifting, what do you think you're getting in there? Come on, man. Don't be silly.
Let's take some of my current back and bicep.
This is boring.
5 sets, works lats for 5 sets. It's 5 sets. It's definitely 5 sets for biceps. I mean, a full range of exercise and then 10 great exercises for the bicep, 10 sets. There's a way to cheat this. There you go. All right. So what do we have there? But it's people are like, well, it works squats, but not as amazing. Okay, but you got 10 sets of squats. Glutes. Raises both days. Right? That's
Okay, he's just rambling on now, man. This is just bullshit. So there you go. That's how it really works, man. I'll see you in the next one. Tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. That everything that he talks about is just dumb shit, man. Because he's the shittiest coach in the world. He doesn't have any clients, because who the fuck would want to be his client? He doesn't even know anything. What the hell? See you in the next one. Ciao, friends. And comment down below. It helps with the algorithm. See ya.